Turn to Proverbs 8:32. Proverbs 8:32 says, "Now therefore hearken unto me, O ye children, for blessed are they that keep my ways." Let's look at that first part. Now therefore hearken unto me, O ye children. So of course wisdom is speaking here, as she has been for the whole chapter. She's speaking to her children. Remember what we saw there in Matthew 11:19 in the last verse, that wisdom is justified of all her children. So when she says there, hearken unto me, O ye children, she's talking to her own children, right? The ones that love her and obey her. Her delights are with the sons of men. We saw that in the previous verse. And therefore she exhorts them to hearken unto her. Because she delights in them, she wants them to get this instruction that will help them get through life. The word therefore will show that to us. This is going to link us back to the previous verse, that her delights are in the sons of men, and therefore that's why she exhorts them to hearken to her. Therefore means, it's an adverb, and it means in consequence of that, that being so, as a result or inference from what has been stated consequently. So in consequence of her delights being in the sons of men, she exhorts them to listen to what she has to say, which is what hearken means. It means to apply the ears to hear, to listen, give ear. That would be the physical definition. Secondly, or thirdly, I should say, it means to apply the mind to what is said, to attend, have regard, to listen with sympathy or docility. Fourthly, it's to hear with attention, to give ear to a thing, to listen to have regard to, heed. It's to understand, learn by hearing, to hear, perceive by the ear. So the first part is talking about how you're physically hear the sound waves, but that doesn't do you a whole lot of good if you're not paying attention to what you hear, right? Because you can be in a doctor's office and hear music playing in the background and pay no attention to it, right? Or something like that. So that doesn't do you any good. It doesn't matter what might be being said in that song or that lecture that's going on in the background. If you're not paying attention, it doesn't help you out. So we have to hear with intention and pay attention to what we hear. So wisdom, because she takes great pleasure in her children, she wants them to listen with attention to what she's about to tell them and apply their minds to it. That's really important when you're learning anything important like Bible doctrine. It's important to listen, to focus, to call back those roving thoughts, because it's easy to let your mind wander. We all do that. And so when you catch that happening, draw your thoughts back. Focus on what you're hearing. We see from another word there that her message is urgent, which is why she tells us to listen up now. Notice what she says there. Now, therefore, hearken unto me, O ye children. Now means at the present time or moment, under the present circumstances, in view of these facts. So the time to hearken to wisdom is now. Now is the accepted time, as the Bible says. Today is the day of salvation. So this isn't something that you ever want to put off until later. You don't want to put it off till tomorrow, you might forget. You don't want to put it off till later in life, you may never get to it. Now is the time. Hebrews 3:13 through 15. But exhort one another daily while it is called today, lest any of you be hardened through the deceitfulness of sin. For we are made partakers of Christ if we hold the beginning of our confidence steadfast unto the end. This is another one of those verses which show us the evidence of our salvation. We are made partakers of Christ. That's already a completed action if we hold the beginning of our confidence steadfast unto the end. So how can you be made something in the past if you do something in the present? It's showing you that if you do it in the present, it's evidence that you were made that way in the past. Right? You can reason back and say, oh, I'm keeping it, I'm being steadfast now, therefore I was made a partaker in the past. But if you're not holding fast to your faith now, you can't reason back and say, oh, I was made a partaker in the past. Right? You don't have that evidence anymore. Anyway, verse 15. While it is said, today, if you will hear his voice, harden not your hearts, as in the provocation, So he says it twice, and then he goes on to say it again later on in chapter 4, today. He says there in verse 7, again he limiteth a certain day, saying in David, today, after so long a time, as it is written, today. There's the fourth time. If ye will hear his voice, harden not your hearts. It's almost as if God wants to impress upon us, when you hear his voice, pay attention to it and do whatever it is today before you harden your heart. Because if you wait, your heart may be hardened and you may not be able to do whatever it is that God is telling you to do. So do it today. It says that in 2 Corinthians 6, verses 1 through 2, that today is the day of salvation. Because, I've seen people, I've told you stories of people that I've known that didn't commit to the gospel when they heard it, when they had the opportunity, while it was today, and then they just kind of go off and revert back to their old ways, and they never end up in the faith because they didn't take advantage of it today, while it was called today. 2 Corinthians 6, 1 through 2, we then, as workers together with him, beseech you also that ye receive not the grace of God in vain. For he saith, I have heard thee in a time accepted, and in the day of salvation have I succored thee. Behold, now is the accepted time. Behold, now is the day of salvation. Don't receive the grace of God in vain. Take advantage of it today, while there's still time. So that's why wisdom says now. She's telling us, do it now. Pay attention now. Listen to what I'm telling you now. Now, therefore, hearken unto me, O ye children. And then she goes on to say, for blessed are they that keep my ways. So now she gives us the reason to hearken to her now, because it opens up with that word for, which is a conjunction, which is introducing the clause of a fact, the statement of which precedes or follows. It means because. It's introducing the ground or reason for something previously said. It means seeing that or sense. So she's saying, listen unto me now, because blessed are they that keep my ways. So if you listen to me and you focus on what I'm saying, wisdom says, you're going to be blessed. If you do it now. But if you don't do it now, you're going to miss out on it. Because you're going to get busy in life and you're not going to do whatever wisdom's telling you to do. Now is the time. So the reason is that those who keep wisdom's ways are blessed. That's what she says. For blessed are they that keep my ways. This is why you want to listen. To keep, and there's a whole bunch of definitions here, but to keep is a kind of a complex word, and I think a lot of these different senses are all true of keeping wisdom's ways. So I'm going to read you a few different senses here. The first one, primary definition, to seize, lay hold of, to snatch, take. When you keep something, you grab a hold of it, you don't let it go. To try to catch or get, to seek after. To take in, receive, contain, or hold. To take in with the eyes. Now this is more like what we're talking about with instruction here. To take in with the eyes, ears, or mind. To take note of, mark, behold, observe. So when she tells you to hearken unto her words, it's going to be in that sense where you're taking hold of it with the mind. You're not letting it go. You hear something and you let that burn into your memory and you remember it. And then you act upon it as you think about it. And then we have the transitive uses. We have the sense in which it is to have regard, pay attention to, or observe. So all these other definitions will be under that heading. To have regard, pay attention to, observe. It means to have regard, to care, to reck. That's R-E-C-K. It's to pay attention or regard to observe, stand to, or dutifully abide by. An ordinance, a law, custom, practice, covenant, promise, faith, a thing prescribed or fixed as a treaty. Truce, peace, a set time or day. So all those things you could dutifully abide by, whether it's a faith or covenant or a promise or something you've determined to do. And then you also have the sense in which it is to guard from external violence or injury, to preserve or maintain, and in that sense, Keep means to guard, defend, protect, preserve, or save. So now I'll just put it all together for you. Those who keep wisdom's ways in every sense, including holding on to them, taking note of them in the mind, regarding and observing them, and guarding, defending, and preserving them, are blessed. So if you take a hold of wisdom's words, you hold on to them, you remember them, you put them in your mind, you observe them and keep them, and defend them and preserve them, you will be blessed. That's why I read you all those definitions, to put it all together, and you see there, that's how you get to be blessed. Those who keep, I already said that. Blessed. Blessed means enjoying supreme felicity, happy, fortunate, bringing or accompanied by blessing or happiness, pleasurable, joyful, blissful. Don't we all want happy lives? Don't we all want to be happy? Well, this is how you be happy. You listen to wisdom's instruction, pay attention to it, take it into your heart and into your mind, and then do it. Apply it to your life. And that will make for a happy life. So those who keep wisdom's ways are fortunate for being able to do so and will experience happiness and joy as a result. If you just go back a few chapters to Proverbs 3:13, you'll remember this verse that we looked at a while back. Proverbs 3:13, happy is the man that findeth wisdom, and the man that getteth understanding. And her ways bring happiness and pleasantness and peace. Verse 17, her ways are ways of pleasantness, and all her paths are peace. So if you want a happy and blessed life, read, remember, and do wisdom's words. And that will give you a happy life. It also says in much wisdom is much grief, so it also give you some trouble from time to time, but the happiness and the blessing will outweigh the trouble every time. That takes care of Proverbs 8 and verse 32. Just a quick note at the end of the sermon. The most important thing a believer in Jesus Christ can do is to be a member of one of God's true churches. If you're not already a member,